Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for lying to my wife's friends after an argument? My wife, 39 female, and I, 40 male, have been married for 8 years and have a 4-year-old son. We both work full-time, have a good handle on household duties and expectations. My wife has been really busy at her job the past 6 weeks or so. Her job does a lot of seasonal work, and this time of the year is among their busiest. They had a lot of seasonal workers they hire to help, and they held a party/happy hour for them last week. The week before the party, my wife was at a work conference for 4 days while I was holding down the home front. The day of the party, she told me that she would only stay until 6 to 7 so that she could be home for our son's bedtime. I went about our normal evening routine with our son and got a text from my wife about 7:15 telling me that she was just wrapping up and would be home soon. I put our son to bed and started doing some cleaning, and the next thing I know, it's 9 p.m. and my wife isn't home, so I text her to see if she's okay. She calls back a few minutes later and tells me she's still talking with people but will be heading home soon. I was a little frustrated and annoyed by this. When she got home, I told her I would appreciate a little more communication from her if her plans are going to change like that. She got defensive and told me that I am not supporting her and that she needs to feel like she has the freedom and agency to do social things without me policing and parenting her, and that she lost track of time. That feels a little defensive, saying, considering that she gave the time. He wasn't saying you be home by this time. She's like, I'll be home by this time. I'm wrapping up. I'm on my way. And then hours go by. That feels a little, little snippy. I told her 90 minutes is a long time to lose track of and that it takes 20 seconds to send a text. She got mad and went off to bed. That weekend, she had a few friends over for cocktails. My wife was inside doing something, so I went out to the patio and said hi to her friends. I then asked them if I could get their opinion on a disagreement my wife and I had. I told them the story about my wife's work party, but lied and told them that it was me that had stayed out without updating my plans. They started going off on me for not respecting my wife enough to give her an update after 90 minutes, and that even though it's important for parents to have social time, I need to recognize that the only way I can do that is by my wife staying home with our son. They all told me I owe my wife an apology and then I need to do better. In the middle of their admonishment of me, my wife came out and asked what we were talking about. One of her friends said that I had just told them about the party the previous week and they were telling me I need to apologize. My wife looked confused and said, but I was the one who had the work party. Boom! I was sitting there with a little smirk on my face and my wife got pissed. Her friends did too. Her friends told me I was a jerk for lying to them and tricking them. I asked them if their advice for me still applies to my wife, and they got all defensive and tried to change their stories. My wife got upset because I embarrassed her. So the question is, am I the astronaut for lying to my wife's friends after an argument? Hell no. Hell no. He gave them a hypothetical with a reversal of the sexes. And boy howdy, did he feel just righteous in that moment when they just started spooling up. And there was a mob mentality there too. As soon as one of them were like, you motherfucker, the rest of them would be like, you treated my girl like that? Like it snowballed. I guarantee it snowballed, and it had to just feel so good for him. I don't know how he didn't sit there with a shit-eating grin the whole time that they started ripping his ass because he knew it wasn't for him. He knew that this was all just falling right into place, and it was proving how right he was. Now, the big question, what was she doing during those 90 minutes? Because, that's a long time to still be standing there talking to people, is it not? And then to be defensive about. If it was us and we got stuck for an extra 90 minutes, it would be like, oh my God, Karen cornered me. And holy shit, that woman will not shut up, but she's my boss, so I couldn't leave, and I wanted nothing more than to send you an SOS so you could call me and tell me that something was wrong with the baby and I needed to leave, but I couldn't get my phone because it was my purse at the table 20 feet away, and that would have looked so obvious. But no, it was, I need to have my own freedom to do social things without you monitoring and controlling me. That seemed a little defensive here. Paula with the SEK Hundo on the YouTube side, it says, NTA, he acted smart and the wife was an astronaut to not give a heads up that she would be late. Hear, hear. Zila says, ESH because he involved the friends, but the wife is 100% wrong and the friends with their reactions. I respect that.
Yeah, so I liked the story because we talk about all the time of what if the roles were reversed and how would that change the outcome? And people may be like, oh, it's not going to change. Well, this is a clear example of they had their mind made up and then they're like, well, it's not really going to happen. And they're like, oh, well, well, if I'd have known that, it would, it would have been, but it's like, somebody in chat was like, he pulled the reverse Uno card on him, and that is 100% what he did.
Absolutely. Also, I don't feel like he had any other play, because if he had presented this same story and reversed the roles like he did to the friends, but if he had done this as a Reddit story and then presented those findings to her, she would have been like, that's just randos on Reddit. The fact that it was her friends means that she had to respect the opinion. There was no arguing against it. There was nothing.